So, what'd you want to talk about? Void asked as Dusty led him out of the camp. The older Tom had been restless all day and insisted on getting Void alone. Void had been reluctant at first. Sure, he and Dusty were both enforcers now, but it wasn't like he'd spoken a ton to the other cat. However, curiosity won out, and now the two were headed to find somewhere more private. Naturally, the first place either could think of was a long-since scorched part of the forest. Very few cats would go there voluntarily, so of course they would not be overheard.
So, here's what I heard.
Dusty began.
Apparently, Leaf got in trouble with Steel over something. I don't know, details don't matter. But apparently, Steel said he might put someone else in charge of the enforcers instead of Leaf. Or that's what I heard, at least.
Void gave Dusty a flat look as he spoke. The details didn't matter? Really? Okay, say what you heard is true. Who do you think would replace Leaf? You? He scoffed. You're barely even a part of the community. Why would they put someone as inexperienced as you in charge? If anyone takes over, it'll probably be Nessa.
Just hear me out, alright?
Dusty gave the younger Black Tom a pleading look.
See, I've got some ideas. The community's supposed to be all neutral territory, right? And that's the whole thing with how the clan's territory was divided, so we still got neutral territory. But now we're completely surrounded on all sides by all these super aggressive cats claiming all the land, and the community's closed in. So here's what I'm thinking. We claim the surrounding territory as neutral territory, of course. We set up patrols, fight off anyone who tries to take it, like the clan cats, and boom, problem solved.
Void rolled his eyes when the Grey Tom finished his spiel. Gee, you know what? That's a great idea. If only someone else thought of it before. Oh wait, Leaf did, and that's exactly why she's on probation.
But this is different, see?
Dusty protested.
We'd be claiming it as neutral territory, not community territory. Wait, I guess we'd still be claiming it, but like, it wouldn't be ours, but like...
Yeah, well, good luck trying to convince Steel of that, Void grumbled, turning to leave.
Wait, you're not gonna help me?
Nah, I don't think so. The Black Tom looked back at Dusty. You can do what you want. I don't actually care either way. I'd rather sit back and watch it all play out. The moon had barely moved past the highest point of the sky when a shriek of pain cut through the night air, startling the community cats awake. In her den, Red quickly sprung to her feet, listening as the shriek came again and began gathering supplies as Steel burst into the den. That was Dusk's scream, he meowed, his words uncharacteristically fast and panicked. Why isn't she in camp? She may have gone to find a comfortable spot to have her kits, Red meowed, plucking a few rainbow beetles from her stash of herbs. Come on, help me carry these. I don't like the sound of that and I need to make sure nothing goes wrong. Steel nodded and picked up the beetles in his jaws, and the two cats rushed out of the camp. They followed the sound of Dusk's cries of pain, farther and farther from the ruins, until eventually they stopped, and the night was silent. Red exchanged a frantic look with Steel, lifting her head to see if she could track the Black Queen by scent. But the horrified sound that came from Steel's throat let her know that he'd been the first to spot her, lying still near a ring of stone with a little bundle of fur next to her. No. Steel dropped the beetles he'd been carrying and rushed to Dusk's side, nudging her with his nose and paws. Dusk, please. You need to stay alive. Please, my dear. I cannot lose you. Red swallowed past a lump in her throat, knowing it was already too late for her, and averted her gaze to the little gray and black kit at Dusk's side. The queen was long past being able to be saved by one of the rainbow beetles, but this kit... They were weak and silent, but still breathing, barely. Maybe, just maybe, she could save them. The cats of Sun Clan rarely venture this far from their camp, unless to travel beyond the grasslands that made up their territory. But way out here, where the tree line blended with the open fields, Blossom Star could be alone with her thoughts. What had she been thinking with the whole Finch-Dapple thing? He was one of the most experienced, well-respected warriors in the clan, and she had banished him at the word of, what, a couple of ex-apprentices barely more experienced than herself? As soon as the thought entered her mind, she regretted it. That wasn't fair to the others. Patchsun, her brother and her medicine cat, had warned her not long before the fight that had triggered it all. Snailfang was an honest cat. and despite his friendship with Finchstapple, had been willing to speak up against him to tell what he had seen. And Mint Cloud? Well, she'd known him since she was a kid. They'd been Shadow Clan apprentices together, and while they weren't close, she didn't believe he was capable of the kind of treachery Finchstapple had accused him of. Besides, Foxspring had also felt there was something fishy going on, though she hadn't quite agreed with Blossom Star's decree of temporary banishment until this could be properly figured out. Now, nobody knew who to trust, and Finchstapple had long since wandered far from the outskirts of Sun Clan's territory, with no sign of him since, and no means of interrogating him for the full story. Blossom Star sighed, resting her head against her paws. Had she made the right call? What if she wasn't cut out to be a leader at all? What's a pretty face like you sighing for out here all alone? Alarmed, Blossom Star sprang to her paws and rolled to face the dark blue-gray she-cat that had walked up behind her. As Blossom Star gaped at the newcomer, taken back by the compliment, the other she-cat continued. I mean, it's probably not my business or anything, but, you look kind of upset about something, but, you're also kind of really hot, and I just kind of, maybe you could use a distraction or something? Blossom Star felt herself flush beneath her fur at the implication and tried to stammer out a response. I mean, that's... What kind of distraction are you suggesting? The stranger seemed to notice Blossom Star getting flustered and hurried to try and fix things. Well, I mean, it doesn't have to be, we could just hang out or something, maybe, try hunting together, or chat about something else, or,
Cobalt!
A shrill voice cut in, causing both she-cats to turn and look at the scrawny brown tabby running in their direction.
Cobalt, this is really important and I need to talk to... Oh, are you busy or something?
The gray she-cat, Cobalt apparently, Blossom Star thought, scowled at the little tabby. Seriously, Trinket? Was it look like I was in the middle of something?
Oh!
Trinket's eyes glinted mischievously.
In the middle of something, huh? Well, you should have told me!
Trinket?
I mean, if you and the lovely tortoiseshell here need some privacy, I'll just excuse myself.
Trinket, shut up!
Look, I'm not gonna go invading your business, alright?
Spirits, can you just...
Excuse me?
A somewhat bemused Blossom Star cleared her throat, getting the attention of the other two she-cats. Listen, Cobalt, right? I'm flattered, really, but the thing is, I've only just met you, so,
Oh, yeah, that's fine. No worries, the dark-colored she-cat said. I'll just be hanging around the area if you change your mind or anything. Maybe we can, see more of each other then?
Yeah, about that, Cobalt.
Trinket cleared her throat.
I actually caught one of some pretty strong scent markers, so we might not be welcome to stay around these parts. It smells like a whole bunch of cats, in fact.
You mean Sun Clan? Blossom Star asked. Technically, the entire grasslands belongs to the clan, though we're some distance from the camp out here. As she explained, Cobalt glanced around uneasily, as if the cats of Sun Clan would show up at any moment.
Okay, but if this is their turf, shouldn't we, get out of here? You can come with me and Trinket. I'm sure I can find some place without any other cats to worry about.
Blossom Star purred in mild amusement at the suggestion. That's a kind offer, but I doubt it'll be an issue. I am Sun Clan's leader, after all. Her amusement only grew as both Cobalt and Trinket gaped at her, eyes comically wide.
Wait,
Cobalt meowed, her voice sounding semi-strangled as she spoke.
So, you're the head honcho around here? Spirits, I was hitting on a freaking boss cat and I didn't even realize.
Sorry for intruding, Miss Suncat Leader, ma'am.
Trinket stammered, taking a nervous step closer to Cobalt as though to hide behind her.
We didn't mean to trespass, honest. We'll just be on our way now.
No, it's fine. Blossom Star quickly meowed, the amusement at their reactions tinging with a hint of guilt. Look, if you need a place to stay, why not come back with me? Now Cobalt eyed her with what may have been suspicion.
Really? What's the catch?
Catch?
Yeah.
The dark-colored she-cat nodded.
Nobody ever just offers up a place to stay without wanting something or having some reason.
Well, said Blossom Star, You said you'd stick around the area so we could see more of each other, didn't you? And I'll admit, we could use the extra paws around camp, since Darkflower's had her kits and all.
Kits?
Trinket's eyes widened, and she whirled to face Cobalt.
We can certainly help them out, can't we? At the very least, I'd like to make sure these kits are being cared for properly over at Leafbare.
Cobalt's eyes flickered from Trinket back to Blossom Star, whom she scrutinized for a moment before her posture finally relaxed, and she stepped up to the leader's side with a purr.
You know what? Sure, I'd love to come back with you. Lead the way,
Dong, did I forget to ask your name? Blossom Star purred, glad the two had agreed. It's alright, it just didn't come up. I'm Blossom Star. Now, let's go introduce you two to the rest of the clan.
So, there we were, backed up against a tree by a whole pack of wolves, when Cobalt shouts to them, "Get lost, mange eaters!" and she leaps down from the tree and fur starts flying everywhere!
The kids all watched Trinket with wide eyes as she told her tale, completely enraptured by the intensity and enthusiasm in the story. From the other end of the nursery, Darkflower watched with a purr. Trinket was wonderful with the kids, clearly, and she was quite the storyteller as well. At some point, Creek Spirit had poked their head in to keep an eye on the newcomer, and they listened to the tale with a skeptical look on their face. There's no way any of this is true, they scoffed.
Hush you! It's just a story for kids!
Darkflower meowed, giving the pale Tabby a sidelong glance. Creek Spirit looked away quickly, mumbling to himself barely loud enough for Darkflower to pick up on. Yeah, well, it's just as believable as Mint Cloud's story. She probably hadn't been meant to hear that, but Darkflower whirled on the other cat immediately anyway.
Excuse me, would you care to repeat that?
Creek Spirit jumped, their eyes wide as the furious queen glared at them. Oh, well, it's just that... Well, Finch-Dapple was a deputy. Everyone respected him, even old Reedjaw admired him. Why would Finch-Dapple have a reason to lie about Mint Cloud being a traitor?
Well, he lied about who attacked who,
Darkflower pointed out.
Maybe he lied because he wanted to be deputy again, or he didn't like the current leadership?
Well, maybe, but how does Mint Cloud fit into that? Creek Spirit meowed. He wouldn't have been a threat to Finch-Dapple if that was his goal. Even within the clan, he's practically a nobody.
Don't ever call him a nobody again!
Darkflower snarled, her fur bristling. Creek Spirit flinched back at the fury in the Dark Queen's voice.
I don't want to hear another word out of your mouth! If I hear you talking about my mate like that again, you'll be sorry!
The paler cat quickly nodded and scampered out of the nursery, leaving Darkflower to huff and collect herself. As she calmed down, however, she became acutely aware of the fact that Trinket had stopped talking, and both she and the kids were staring in her direction. There was a brief pause before Trinket cleared her throat and got the kids' attention once again.
Hey, how about another story? This time, I'll tell you about the time my friend Storm threatened to throw me off a bridge.
That was another unusual story topic, but Darkflower nodded in thanks to the smaller she-cat before ducking out of the nursery herself. She really needed the fresh air. A biting cold had begun to creep over the grasslands at some point during the night, as the first snowfall of Leafbare had begun. Many of the cats were still curled up in their nests for warmth, though Cobalt had already woken up and was now trying to soak up what little sun there was. Honestly, hanging around all these clan cats was not so bad, though she was no stranger to the weird looks a couple of the cats gave her. Whenever she caught them staring, she'd glare right back in their direction, and they'd quickly look away. Now was a new day. Another day of hunting, getting to know the area, and maybe finding more ways to get the attention of a certain pretty tortoiseshell leader. As she considered what she should be doing this day, she noticed a reddish-brown she-cat walking up to her. Foxy? Fox something? Foxspring, that was right. Good, you're already up, Foxspring meowed. I'm going to be taking a patrol to the edges of our territory today, and I want you to come with me. Wait, me? Cobalt narrowed her eyes. I thought it was, supposed to be out hunting and stuff around here, helping out around the clan? And you'll be helping out by participating in this piece of clan life, Foxspring meowed. I've already cleared it with Blossom Star anyway, so there should be no issue. Cobalt opened her mouth halfway through Foxspring's explanation, about to complain, only to snap shut when she'd mentioned Blossom Star.
Whatever, fine. Let me know when it's time.
The full moon filtered through the branches of the ancient wisteria tree, casting its light upon the clearing below as the cats of both Sun Clan and Briar Clan began to intermingle, the first to arrive at the gathering tonight. They did not have long to wait before the cats of the community began to arrive as well, headed by Albatross. Blossom Star exchanged a glance with Vixen Star, who spoke up. Albatross, it's good to see that you and your cats can make it to the gathering, but is there some reason that Steel isn't here? Red was the one who spoke up, the dark ginger she-cat standing close behind her mate. I'm sorry, I'm afraid that Steel is in mourning after losing his mate. He's asked us to leave him in solitude for the next several days. At the startled and bewildered looks on the clan cats' faces, Albatross stepped forwards and spoke. It's one of our customs in the community. You all have yours as clan cats and we have ours, but in the meantime, since I'm the head mediary, I'll be taking his place at the gathering. The clan cats below began to murmur amongst each other as he sat upon the rock at the ancient Wisteria's base, but with another shared look, Blossom Star and Vixen Star also took their seats. Well, I suppose it's time for the gathering to begin. Wait, aren't we waiting for Reedclan? Blossom Star stared at Albatross as though he'd grown a second head. Reedclan? What are you talking about? There is no other clan, Vixen Star added. They would have made their presence known by now.
Actually, I asked my cats to keep it quiet until tonight.
Everyone's attention was drawn to the other end of the clearing, as several new cats began to arrive. In the lead was a light brown tabby Tom, with thick fur and a scar across one of his eyes. Murmurs and whispers of shock filled the clearing, and Mint Cloud flinched back amongst the other Sun Clan cats, as Finchstapple, or perhaps Finch Star now, took his place seated with the other leaders.
I didn't want to ruin the surprise, after all.
He turned his gaze to where Blossom Star sat, his whiskers twitching in amusement as she tried to avoid eye contact.
Perhaps my banishment from Sun Clan was a blessing in disguise. It was after I left that Star Clan came to me and guided me to the marsh where Reedjaw's kin resided. With Star Clan's guidance, I helped them to gather more cats together, and when the time was right, I was led to the Moonspring to formally create Reedclan. Named in honor of the former River Clan deputy, of course.
As he spoke, some of the cats glanced in the direction of the golden she-cat that had been brought along with Reedclan. Sure enough, she did bear a strong resemblance to Reedjaw.
Finchstar continued. With the formation of Reedclan, I would also like to introduce Scorchheart, my deputy, and Kurokopat as my medicine cat. With StarClan's blessing, I trust that these two will help Reedclan grow into a strong, prosperous clan.
Finished, he nodded towards the other leaders.
Any news from your clans? Or, well, group?
The last part was said with a disdainful sidelong glance at Albatross. Vixen Star eyed Finchstar warily, but began to speak. Briar Clan has recovered fully from the green cough that plagued us. Unfortunately, we lost another cat to it, Vineclaw. However, we remain strong. Our visitor, Mouse, has had a litter of new kits, and Eaglepaw, Lightpaw, and Mousepaw have all been made apprentices. We have also recruited several new cats to Briar Clan. That is all to report. As she finished, Blossom Star stood, nervous under the piercing gaze of Finchstar. Sun Clan has also been well. Darkflower recently had a litter of kits, Tiger Kit and Mud Kit. We are also hosting a pair of visitors to the clan named Cobalt and Trinket. As she named the visitors, she caught sight of Albatross perking up, and Tidestorm and Clay exchanging a meaningful glance, while Scorchheart whispered something into the ear of the tabby she-cat beside him. That's all the news in Sun Clan, she finished, ignoring Finchstar's disdainful snort. Albatross glanced between Finchstar and the previously established clan leaders, trying to gauge the tension between them. I think most of you already know about the wolf attack near our camp. It managed to get both me and Breeze pretty badly, but as you can see, both of us are still alive and doing just fine. However, wolves tend to roam in packs, and while we haven't seen any more, I'd advise everyone to be on the lookout. In the meantime, we've invited many more cats to come and join us, and Steel's mate, Dusk, returned. However, she unfortunately passed after giving birth to just one kit. They have yet to be given a name, which Steel will decide once his mourning period has finished.
In the meantime, negotiations involving the community are to be run by me. He turned his gaze to Finchstar now. I can't say I know exactly what happened, but I hope whatever troubles there are between you and the other clan cats can be put aside and resolved peacefully. Of course, of course. Finchstar dipped his head low, almost exaggeratedly so. It's all in the past. Creek Spirit followed the rest of the Sun Clan cats home as they returned from the gathering. Tensions were high as Blossomstar urgently whispered to Patchstone about what had happened, Creek Spirit barely catching snippets every now and then of Star Clan and Reedclan and other words and phrases here and there. Every so often, Foxspring would chime in with her low, quiet voice, but Creek Spirit had to strain their ears to hear anything she said. And of course, Mint Cloud stayed quiet, plodding along at the back. Who knew what was going through the dark brown tabby's mind? Sure, he looked scared, but that was probably just because he'd made an enemy out of StarClan's chosen leader. That had to be proof that Mint Cloud was lying. As they all re-entered the camp, Blossomstar turned to the rest of the group and spoke quietly. Everyone get some rest. I know the gathering was confusing and stressful, but we'll discuss it later, when everyone's had some sleep. Everyone murmured in agreement, and the cats all dispersed to their separate dens. But Creek Spirit was filled with a sort of anxious energy after the gathering. They wouldn't be able to sleep right away, they needed to talk to someone about it. Glancing around the warrior's den, they caught a glimpse of a familiar ginger pelt. Sparrowpelt, of course! He'd love to hear about what happened at the gathering.
Sparrowpelt? Psst! Hey! Sparrowpelt!
The ginger and white Tom groggily opened his eyes. What? Oh, Creek Spirit. You're back from the gathering? How'd it go? He sat up and folded his legs beneath himself as he smiled up at the pale tabby. Oh, well, you know, Briar Clan's got no apprentices, the community's basically the same as the last time I saw them. Oh, and there's a new clan called Reedclan that lives in the marsh, and you'll never guess who is leading them.
Finchtapple! Wait, seriously?
Yeah, I'm serious. Or, I guess he's Finchstar now. Creek Spirit tilted their head as they spoke, then shrugged, plowing ahead with their retelling of events. But yeah, he's got his own clan named after Reedjaw because he apparently has kits here? Guess this is where Reedjaw disappeared for moons on end, Sparrowpelt observed, flicking his tail idly. Probably. But anyway, get this. Apparently StarClan themselves led Finchstar there. He was chosen by them to lead this new clan. StarClan? Sparrowpelt sat completely upright at this. If they chose him, that must mean he was innocent. And you said Reedclan's in the marsh somewhere? Yeah, right on the edge of the river past the community's territory. Or, well, the area where the community lives. They purred wistfully. It'd be so nice to live by the water again. I miss swimming and the taste of fish. Hear, hear, Sparrowpelt meowed in agreement, before a yawn escaped him. Now, how about we get some sleep? We can talk more about it in the morning. The cold air of Leafbare and the layer of snow that joined it had affected every part of the valley, but the marsh where Reedclan made their home had frozen over, leaving the many pools and puddles as nothing more than ice. The chill even seemed to permeate into dreams, though Finchstar could ignore that, considering the visitor he had received in his sleep following the gathering. The star-covered speckled brown Tom dipped his head as he greeted Reedclan's leader. Congratulations, Finchstar. How does it feel to be leader? It is every bit as thrilling as I imagined, Finchstar purred. But I could never have done it without your guidance, Toadpelt. Toadpelt's expression faltered, and his paws fidgeted as he responded. Well, I did what I could. After all, I made you a promise, right? That you did, but it's good to know that even in death, my brother has my back. Finchstar sank his claws into the ground beneath him, embracing the cold that was seeping in. Now that I have Reedclan behind me, perhaps I can uphold my promise to you and avenge your death. At this, Toadpelt looked away, barely able to keep his ears from lying flat. You really don't need to do that. Seriously. It's the least I could do for you after all you've done for me. I insist, Finchstar meowed, oblivious to the StarClan cat's discomfort. After all, we're brothers, and there's nothing we wouldn't do for the other. Yeah, apparently not. Toadpelt continued to avoid his brother's eyes, staring at the ground. You'll continue to help me, of course, right? Finchstar went on. I'd love to have my brother by my side in all this, just as it should be. Toadpelt glanced back at the lighter Tom as he gave his request, and hesitated before answering. I'll have to see what I can do, but I'll try. Finchstar purred, opening his mouth to respond, but everything had begun to fade as he awoke. Morning had come, and today was a new day for Reedclan. Scorchheart kept his body low and his paw steps light as he crept forward, exactly the way he'd been taught. The marsh floor was frozen, allowing him to tread without his paws sinking into the peat and mud and slowing him down. He wasn't unskilled by any means, but it had been a long time since he'd been relied on for any of his physical abilities, and truthfully, he was a bit rusty. But, as deputy, he needed to make sure all his skills were sharp. You've been putting a lot of work into your hunting, haven't you? Apparently, not all of Scorchheart's senses were as sharp as he'd thought, as Shadowstep's voice took him by surprise. He stumbled over his own feet as his dark-furred mate purred in amusement. Please, do not stop on my account. It's quite enjoyable to watch you. Would you like to have a go at it? Scorchheart asked, waving his tail in the direction of the ball of moss he'd been about to pounce on. No. Shadowstep lifted a paw and flexed it. It was a movement that, if it were any other cat, would have unsheathed their claws, but Scorchheart remembered belatedly that Shadowstep had had his taken when he was still a kitty pet. I think you and I both know that my talents lie better elsewhere than hunting or fighting. And that's the only reason you were not made deputy over myself. Scorchheart tried for a joking tone, knowing the trust that Finchstar put in his mate, but Shadowstep made a face at his comment. Yes, well, our esteemed leader does believe that I have your ear more than he does. Shadowstep glanced back towards the camp. Speaking of which, it would appear he's still off with that fishing patrol near the river. It is good that he's not around to hear us. Otherwise, we might be accused of treason. Scorchheart commented in a casual tone, though his posture was tense and guarded. He did have the interests of Reedclan's members at heart, but both he and Shadowstep had suspected that Finchstar's priorities lay elsewhere. Still, the majority of Reedclan had placed their trust in their leader, so any discussion even outside of his earshot had to be handled delicately. I met some old friends of mine at the gatherings the other night. Oh? Shadowstep's whisker twitched in interest at this. Do tell. It wouldn't be too hard to get in contact with them again, Scorchheart meowed. If you'd like, perhaps I could introduce you sometime. Perhaps, Shadowstep replied. They are loyal to you, yes? I doubt Finchstar would be too opposed to hear I've found contacts within the other clans if he wants me to do my job. With another glance back at the camp, he stepped forward and nuzzled Scorchheart. Well, I'm glad we could have this conversation. Truthfully, I originally came here to tell you that Spotted Pelt was asking where you were. The spotted russet Tom chuckled. You wanted to keep me to yourself a moment longer, I take it. Can you blame me? Shadowstep jokingly gave him an innocent look. Is it so wrong to want to spend time with my mate? You are impossible. Scorchheart purred and nuzzled Shadowstep again. I'll go spend some time with her now, but thank you, Shadow. Do you really think we needed to come all the way out here to patrol? Stormfang meowed, glancing around at the frozen marsh. All the water away from the river had been frozen over, and the layer of snow made the whole world so monochrome. As far as she could see, Redwing was the only spot of color out here. It's Finchstar's orders, Redwing meowed with a shrug. He thinks one of the other clans or the community might turn up and invade. Okay, but don't the other clans have a bit of territory other cats can pass through? Like, they own it, but it's still safe for other cats? Well, we're not the other clans. Redwing flicked his tail, glancing around before narrowing his eyes. Actually, you hear that? I think I hear someone coming right now. He waved his tail in the direction of a frost-covered bush. Come on, let's hide here. The two Reedclan cats ducked beneath the branches of the bush, watching silently as the scent of the community washed over them, accompanied by a pair of cats who were talking loudly. Or rather, the grayish tabby, Dusty, was speaking loudly to his elderly companion, Zoe, as they trekked through the edges of the marsh.
I'm just saying, Steel may be gone, but does that really give Albatross the right to go around acting like he's the one in charge? Like, what makes him the best qualified cat for the job?
Zoe just rolled their eyes as Dusty ranted. You know full well that Albatross was picked by Steel to take over if he's not around. You just want something to complain over, don't you? As Dusty spun and shot back a retort, Redwing turned to Stormfang and gave her a meaningful look, which the large she-cat struggled to interpret before leaping out from their mutual hiding spot and cutting off the community cat's path, Stormfang following behind and following his lead. Trespassers! Redwing hissed. What are you two doing on Reedclan's territory?
Your territory?
Dusty scoffed.
Nobody ever discussed any boundaries with Reedclan.
There's no need to discuss it. The marsh belongs to us. Right, Stormfang? Stormfang, for her part, just blinked with a confused, huh?
You clan cats are all talk!
Dusty meowed, stepping forwards.
What are you gonna do to keep us out, huh?
Zoe, on the other hand, eyed the Reedclan cats warily. Dusty, maybe we should just head back.
No, I wanna know what these guys are gonna do, huh? Run back home to their leader? Fight us right here like the savages they are? Come on, I dare you! Give it your best! Ah!
Dusty reeled backwards as Redwing lashed out with his claws and slashed the other Tom across the face. Almost immediately, Dusty launched himself at the Ginger Tom with a furious yowl, and the two Tomcats dissolved into a tangle of claws and fur. Stormfang stood frozen, alarmed by how quickly things had escalated to this point. She barely noticed as Zoe's fur puffed up and the ginger and white cat ran away. For a moment, Redwing managed to break away and shout in Stormfang's direction, "What are you doing? Help me out here!" Shaking herself out of her stun, Stormfang ran into the fray and sank her teeth into the scruff of Dusty's neck, roughly yanking him off of her clanmate and using her weight to pin him down. As he struggled to free himself, Stormfang leaned down and spoke quietly. "If I let you go, you have to leave, and don't come back." Dusty stiffened, then finally nodded.
Yeesh, okay. Jeez, you're terrifying.
"I've been told that." Still, Stormfang stepped away and let the gray tabby take off running away from the marsh. Redwing purred in satisfaction. "Well, that's that. The leader will be pleased to see that the territory is being defended. Come on, let's do some hunting and head back." The black and white she-cat nodded, but as she walked away to find a place to try and sniff out some prey, she couldn't help but wonder whether Reedclan had just made enemies out of the community.
Gotcha!
Larva shouted as they pounced on the ball of moss they'd been playing with. The little calico kit was being watched from a distance by Korokopat, their aunt, who was sitting outside the medicine den. Korokopat's job was super important, Mama said. She spoke to StarClan and helped heal anyone who was sick or hurt. What was there not to love about her job? But Mama was a warrior, and warriors were super cool too. They got to go out and explore, claim new territory, fight off enemies, and hunt for more food. Being a warrior would be awesome! Which was why Larva Kit was out here, attacking the moss ball like it was an enemy. They tossed it around, kicking at it with their hind legs, before launching it somewhere else. Larva Kit took off running immediately to chase after it, and crashed right into Finchstar's legs, the light brown leader staring down at the small kit with an unreadable expression.
Sorry?
Larva Kit squeaked, ducking their head. Finchstar, for his part, just stared at the kit some more, his face showing no signs of emotion. Then, finally, he spoke. "It would seem that Froststar's bloodline runs strong."
Froststar?
Larva Kit tilted their head to the side in confusion. They never heard of a Froststar.
Who's that?
The question was innocent, but Finchstar's face twisted into something dark and angry. "She is no one of consequence. All that matters is that you grow into a strong, loyal warrior. And you will, won't you?"
Yes?
Larva Kit squeaked, still confused.
Can I have my mouse ball back?
Finchstar stepped out of Larva Kit's way, keeping an eye on them as they went to grab their moss ball and ran off. They didn't really get what had just happened, or what Finchstar was talking about, but it sounded like Froststar made him angry. Well, if Finchstar wanted them to train to become a warrior, they knew what to do. With a wiggle of their rump, they pounced on the moss ball once again, pretending it was an enemy.
Die, Froststar! This is Reedclan! Go away!
Hello everybody! Salty Sweet Ren here, and I really hope you guys enjoyed this recap. Just here at the end of the video, I want to give a really quick update on stuff that's been going on with the channel. First of all, if you haven't already seen it, I've actually made a website for this challenge and hopefully most of my other series as those continue. For now, though, I'm mostly focusing on the Warrior Cats aspect of it. It's going to be a work in progress for a while, but yes, the Warriors pages are the ones I'm focusing on first. I want to get the info and bios of the characters up before I start focusing on the other stuff. Aside from that, I do have some other updates. First of all, once again, I'm going to be changing my schedule. For a while I've been kind of struggling to write all the scripts and record all the intros on time every single week. It's also pretty hard to record more than one Sims 3 video a week because, for me at least, the game is super finicky. So I'm going to be slowing down when they come out. They're still going to be coming out on a regular basis, but it's going to be every other week that the challenge comes out, that the story for the Warriors challenge comes out. The weeks in between, I'm going to be moving the Create Your Cat series to, actually. So it'll be every other Friday. It'll be Warriors, Create Your Cat, Warriors, Create Your Cat. Saturdays will kind of be left blank, but as a result of that, but instead I'm going to start doing my Chain of Memories series on Saturdays, which I've already been doing. That's going to be moved to every single week, and hopefully I can get through that fairly quickly, because it seems like that series may take me a bit of time at the pace I've been going. In addition, I know a few people have been asking about this, and I've been thinking about this a little bit more seriously. I've been thinking a little bit more about potentially getting voice actors to help with the Warriors series. It won't be implemented for quite a while. I don't know what exactly would constitute as like some of the major scenes that would need voice actors quite yet. I have a few in mind for like scenes, but hopefully soon I can get a video up saying like, hey, this is what I'm looking for voice actors. I'd like to get it by episode 50, which with the schedule being slowed down the way it is, that won't be for a few months at least. So it'll be a bit of time before I'll like need voice actors like right away. But if it's something that you guys would be interested in, please go ahead and let me know or something. I'll be trying to figure this out soon. Also, I almost forgot to mention this when I was talking about Create Your Cat, but I am also changing up the process for cat submissions just a little bit. If you go back and watch some of the old Create Your Cat videos, you may have noticed I've posted pinned comments like they're explaining I have a new process I'm going to be using for the Create Your Cat series. Basically, I'm going to be going through the entirety of my current list from stuff that you guys have submitted in the comments. I'm going to be going through the entirety of that, and then I'm going to start focusing on a submission page that is on the website that I posted. If you guys have submitted cats via that submission page, those cats will take priority, and if you also continue to post cats in the comments, they will also be added to a brand new list. They don't have as much priority as the cats that are on the submission form, but those cats you can only submit 1 or 2 on, and hopefully this will also help. I may also do a thing where I'll kind of alternate every so often, like, okay, I need to get through like the cats on the list at some point, and I'll go back to doing cats that are on the form. So just keep that in mind. I'm going to be trying to go through a lot of the cats that have already been submitted. So just keep that in mind. And with all that said, I'm really glad you guys have stuck with me for this long, and I'm sorry that this little update is taking quite a bit of time. So I'm going to go ahead and go. And I hope I will see you guys in whatever videos come next. Stay safe out there, friends.